The Great Wall is often seen as a single barrier, but its true purpose extended far beyond stopping enemies.
For more than 2,000 years, this structure evolved as a system, not a single line of defense.
Every stone records decisions made by engineers, soldiers, and administrators of different dynasties. These towers were not only for observation, but for communication, storage, and control.
Rather than resisting the land, builders shaped the wall to work with natural geography.
Inside, the wall functioned as infrastructure, allowing movement and supply along vast distances.
From these openings, signals once traveled faster than messengers on horseback.
Beacon systems transformed the wall into an early warning network across thousands of kilometers.
This repetition reflects planning, logistics, and centralized coordination, rather than isolated construction.
Strategic passes like this were controlled points, not simply blocked borders.
Later dynasties refined materials, reflecting changing military and administrative priorities.
Control of movement mattered as much as stopping invasion. Gates allowed regulation of trade, migration, and taxation. Engineering choices balanced defensive advantage with construction risk.
Vertical movement allowed rapid access between observation and defense levels.
Drainage systems protected the wall from collapse during seasonal rains. In harsher regions, materials and design adapted to limited resources. Not all parts were built to last forever, reflecting shifting priorities. The wall also functioned as a military road for rapid troop movement.
Builders accounted for extreme climate variation across regions.
Offensive design emphasized control rather than constant combat.
Natural resources influenced placement as much as military logic.
Storage capacity supported long-term occupation rather than short battles.
Time transformed the wall from active system to historical artifact.
Maintenance decisions determined which sections survived.
Its length reflects governance as much as ambition. Environmental forces constantly tested construction limits. In some regions, nature gradually reclaimed strategic relevance.
The system declined as political and military realities changed.
Understanding the wall means seeing it as a network, not a boundary.
At its peak, the wall functioned as a coordinated frontier management system. Spacing between towers reflected communication limits and terrain visibility. Smoke and fire signals transmitted standardized information across regions.
Control of valleys mattered more than sealing every border. Gates allowed selective access rather than permanent closure. Troops and supplies moved efficiently along this elevated route. Long-term storage reduced reliance on external supply lines. Elevation maximized visibility while minimizing attack angles.
Defensive features prioritized controlled response over constant engagement.
Access to water influenced placement and occupation duration. Drainage engineering preserved structural integrity over centuries.
In arid zones, builders adapted design to material scarcity.
Construction methods shifted with technology and political control.
Towers doubled as shelters, storage, and command points. Strategic bottlenecks reduced the need for constant manpower.
Resources were concentrated where threats were greatest.
The wall marked zones of control, not absolute division.
Daily movement shaped the wall as much as military planning.
Environmental stress constantly tested engineering decisions.
Effective water management reduced long-term struck failure. Actions lost relevance as borders and threats shifted. Population centers received greater structural investment. Straight segments reflected administrative efficiency rather than terrain control. Sightline planning enabled rapid visual communication. Builders avoided unnecessary earth removal when possible. Time exposed limits of even the best construction. Psychological deterrence was part of the design. Abandonment allowed natural processes to dominate. Decline was gradual, shaped by policy rather than collapse. The system ended not with failure, but with changing priorities. When military pressure faded, the wall's role quietly transformed. Without constant use, maintenance systems gradually stopped. Over time, the wall became part of the environment it once controlled. Structural decline followed predictable patterns of weather and gravity. In some areas, stones were reused for local construction. Strategic relevance depended on shifting borders and populations. Continuity symbolized authority more than constant defense. Loss of shelter marked the end of permanent occupation. Even abandoned, the wall remained a powerful visual marker. Time became the dominant force, shaping its future. Fragmentation followed political decentralization. Biological processes accelerated structural decay. Scale alone could no longer guarantee control. Abandoned sections slowly returned to raw material. Its presence shifted from defense to symbol. Preservation introduced new interpretations of its meaning. Original builders planned for endurance, not permanence. Observation replaced enforcement. As the wall aged, its influence outlasted its original function. Material endurance tells only part of the story. Geography shaped every strategic decision. Neglect followed reduced strategic necessity. Interpretation now depends on perspective rather than function. The wall no longer governs movement below. Its legacy now exists in memory and study. Modern understanding reframes it as infrastructure. Some parts survived only as outlines. Meaning replaced function over centuries. What remains is interpretation, not defense. The Great Wall was never meant to be just a wall.